Hello and welcome to the Infinite Grifball podcast. This is your favorite old man, Noplex here. Man, it feels good to be back.
Old man.
Very, very old. I've got the head of stats and self-proclaimed community admin here, Mavman. How you doing today, buddy?
Good, a little tired. I've been up with subbing for teams in the latest preseason, not scrim, but what do you call it?
Bum rush.
Like it? Yeah, bum rush.
Halo 3 vets would be ashamed of you. Now, also, we have eccentric, intelligent, the savior, the messiah, Commissioner A. Spence. How you doing today, buddy?
Dude, I'm a sleepy guy.
Do
We're
you
all tired
I'm a
today.
sleepy boy.
do you sleep though? Hot seat question number one right there. Do you sleep?
Yeah, dude, I'm a nocturnal animal. I'm up until like 4 or 5 in the morning. And then I sleep until midday. That's something I got to stop doing.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with a little nap here and there. That's for sure. All right, so let's just jump right into it. Well, I wanted to come up with a different format for a podcast, one that's not weekly and making people have to record and whatnot, because everybody has lives, and we all know Grifball over real life, but you got to moderate. So I thought of an idea of having an episode before the season and maybe in the middle of the season and after, to keep people updated on what's going on if they haven't played, and give it a quick listen while they're at work or riding around in their car or whatnot. I think it'll be good, especially to have two Grifball minds like you to talk about stuff with.
Some sort of content to come up with.
Yeah. Podcasts have always been a pretty popular form of content, but any content is good, really. But just wanted to thank both of you guys for everything that you've been doing for the community last season and before that, and especially this season, and keeping things going, because without stats, it's pretty hard to track anything, and well, without a commissioner, there's no league. So, yeah, thank you too, guy. So,
Absolutely.
so
I mean, what I do compared to Asmus is small, so
oh, no, everything is big. Title or no, it doesn't matter. But
Dude, and what you do is going to be automated in the next week or two.
oh god.
so yep, R.I.P. So I guess we'll just jump right into this and touch on last season, sort of give kind of a summary of things in the first season, some of the struggles that you went through, Spence, getting the game type together and updating it throughout the season, and just it was kind of a test season really for the game type and everybody figuring out the game. So did you want to talk about that, or touch on the struggles you had?
um, Honestly, it wasn't really that challenging of an issue to deal with. So, thankfully, we had a lot of time. Okay, so this is just touching on the previous season. So the last, what was that, 8 to 10 weeks. Before that, we had about maybe 2 months, like 1 to 2 months of practice time to be able to try and dial in a rush manner, mind you, the game mode in preparation for the season. And then once it had at least a ready to go level of quality to it, then using the duration of the season to dial it in to be able to have something that you could perceive as a competitive version of Grifball. Now, we did have that, mind you. That did occur. We were able to get that dialed in right towards the end of the season. We're able to make some final changes right after the season concluded, which were introduction, or I suppose increase of the distance for one-shotting the runner with the hammer to help alleviate the balance issues that the runner currently had. And then, increasing the forward sprint speed of the hammer to reduce the cancerous activity of how tanking was. And those are good. Those worked. Those are fucking flawless. But then 343 are just a bunch of subhuman piece of shits, and they fundamentally altered the way the game's played by drastically changing the netcode to something that no longer no longer balances out connection and has now turned it back into the old Grifball ways of where connection is king. And they also changed the sandbox interactions of the hammer, which, as we've all seen, has almost gotten rid of the ability to launch, the ability to do like knockbacks consistently, and that's it.
Well,
Shit, I got lost in the question here.
Oh no, you answered it perfectly well. I just wanted to add that go ahead and buy Spence's top copy of Most Loved Gaming Companies out there. 343 is definitely at the top. Gotta love that read.
Oh God, what that fucking company's done to our community. They've ruined it.
Yeah, so with the first season, and like you said, it was kind of a game type testing season. Try to figure out what everybody likes the most. Can't please everybody, but like I said, with the slow hammer and the ball runner being somewhat strong with punching, being able to back up, it's definitely had to be tricky in a new game to please most people and have a competitive season as well. It was definitely more relaxed on the rules, I felt like, with subs and whatnot, but it's important to build the numbers back up again. But speaking of last season and keeping the stats, we got the statistician right here with us. And you hand entered all the stats last season, right?
Yeah, I did it in a way that wasn't as well optimized as I would like to admit. Ace Spence can give me shit for that one. But that was not a fun experience, and I would prefer never to do it again.
Well,
There are times where I will enjoy doing stats, but like doing the leaderboards was fun, like coming up with new ideas about how to track stats and make up new leaderboards and all that different shit.
Well, it was handy to have. It's kind of hard to do content without kind of like baseline stats, and while they might not mean everything, it's a really good basis to go off of, kind of an average, because we all know most players can go from a grade to another grade, but the top players like Spence, Novice, Jushy, Ace, that they basically stay at S tier every game. Even a bad game, they're S minus. When you're good, you're just good, I guess. But last season culminated in Mungo v Pungo winning the ship over Deathcrawler's team, which it was the playoff bracket was pretty good, I thought, for how the season turned out, and I'm not sure people thought Mungo was going to win the ship. I'll be honest, when it going into the playoffs, our team was pretty good, glory to God, but I mean, I thought Mav and Mystical were pretty much favorites to win it. They had a really strong team in the regular season.
Things sort of just fell apart in the end.
I actually thought that our team was probably going to win it. But unfortunately, the Heels was so far out of practice that wasn't going to be possible. We really did have the ability to win the entire season. Like, I was extremely confident that if at least the Heels was practice enough, that we would have been able to take that boy. But
Well,
alas.
you're definitely a captain that gets the most out of his players. I mean, you had me on your team for crying out loud, and I didn't play that bad, so that's pretty much proof there.
Yeah, man, you're a good player, but your limiting factor is that you use controller on low sensitivity.
Mouse and keyboard is
Unfortunately.
I think I suggest to everyone that they play mouse and keyboard, but I also understand that just some people don't own a PC or have the ability to play on mouse and keyboard because it's like so far and beyond, I think, better than playing on controller, but that's just me.
You can play mouse and keyboard on console.
Can you?
Yeah.
Yeah, unless it's the older shit boxes, then I don't think you can. I could be wrong on that.
I thought you had to buy like a special mouse and keyboard that Razer made to play on mouse and keyboard for Xbox.
No, it's native support.
Okay, that's good to know.
Well, I have been working on a hybrid setup, controller and mouse, sort of like Ace does, and it's the one thing I found working on it. My sword was just really hard to lunge on runners because of just getting used to the sensitivity, but the hammer input felt really good on it. Like I can see why it's popular, but I'm an old man. It'll take me time to learn new ideas, but I'm gonna give it another shot. Try to work on it. But I would say overall I've been playing pretty good. I was telling my team that I'm pretty happy with my play right now before the season. So just got to go from there, I guess.
I think you're doing pretty well.
Thank you. I learned from Cap. But moving on, we got last season covered, so let's get into the fun and important stuff this season, the stuff that matters. Everybody was clamoring for a new season when the old one ended, or last season ended, and the draft was, oh God, when was it? Last Saturday?
Something with the 8th, or not the 8th, was the 6th? Something I can
So
check.
yeah,
Hold on.
last Saturday. Look at me being right.
Yeah, it was the 6th.
And I think I speak for everyone when I say there's nothing quite like draft hype, bid hype, whatever you want to call it.
I
Leading up,
think I made like 20 mock drafts leading up to that. And it's funny if I got like a lot of the teams right.
Yeah, dude, you love spamming my inbox with all of those mock
You
drafts.
you know I like making mock drafts. It's like my favorite. It's like people say draft season is the best season.
yeah, the hype gets eaten up more than the season does. It seems like, but hey, whatever keeps people coming back. One thing it's always tough for the league is getting captains. Uh, I just wish in a perfect world we could pay captains, pay admins, whatever needs to be done, because it's just I don't know. Some people are good at being a captain, and it can be a hassle having to basically babysit and schedule at times. But I just wish there was a better way. I still feel like we got some pretty good signups for captain though for this season.
The better way is if all the teams were just automatically generated. Either that or the only aspect that captains had to do was drafting. And then the rest of their duties were automated. Like that's the perfect world right there.
Maybe
Because
one day.
the biggest issue of captaining for people is generally dealing, it's just, any of the components. So either dealing with their own team to make sure people show up on time, scheduling, which, we've taken care of that, rescheduling, which, you still have to communicate with other captains and your team to be able to pull that off. And then just communicating with other teams in general, right? There's like any aspect of communication seems to be a big contention point for people. And some people just don't have the capacity to do it, or they think they don't have the capacity to do it, therefore they don't want to captain, right?
Right, right. I mean, I guess I don't blame him. I captained a long time ago, and I think I was pretty good at it, but it was just a hassle. You can be good and try to practice, be a good captain, try to get people on and play and scrim, and just people don't show up as much as you want them to. They just don't show. So you can't really build cohesion like that, you know. But
That's true.
I still say we got a pretty good list of captains and the teams this season. I gotta say that a lot of the teams look so good on paper and so balanced. In your opinion, Mav, what would you say would be the most surprising team, or how they drafted? The
I'd probably
best,
say Pop Tart. Because,
right?
Pop Tart's team, I wouldn't say there was. I would say he went away from the consensus and went more with what he thought would be good.
Yeah, I think he was going full Paradox Warriors or people who played for his previous teams and whatnot. And I'm a part of that prestigious alumni, by the way, Paradox Warriors for life. But he just wanted to play with his buddies, and there's been people that have done that in the bid league and been successful too. I did it a long time ago, but I know it's not bid league now, but it can be successful at times. But I still say him being ranked last is where he wants to be, because his AMI team used to be named underrated. That's where he likes to be. It's kind of under the pile a little bit. Yeah, I would say the team's panned out look well. Crazy Guys looks like a really strong team. I don't think you have a weakness on your team from playing you last night, Spence. Like your captain is good. And of course, you're a god. And you have Mr. Dependables and Tommy and Grunt. That just I don't know. Y'all have a really solid team. It's really you can't really go after one person. Like oh let's attack this side or this side. There's really no weak point. Like
It's just a
Rage.
wall of tanks.
Yeah, you're like Rage Mornode. There's no weak point in your game.
Maybe. I'm not too sure. The betrayals are still a big issue right now, but that's just a team chemistry thing, and then getting Smurf more accustomed to playing Grifball, because he doesn't have a lot of time under his belt with this game at least, and it's going to be a bit of a adjustment period for him to be able to dial it in. But he is the Diamond Man. He's the Diamond Man in League of Legends. He's always a top player in every single video game he plays in a competitive setting, so it shouldn't take him long to get pretty darn good at this game.
Well, I'd say he looked pretty good last night playing against him. He was being a pretty good passive tank. He was killing me a lot. But I guess that doesn't make anyone really special. But he was.
But my whole team's gimmick is that we're all going to be running.
Hey, that's a good
I was
idea.
wondering that when I was playing last night, who's going to run for this team?
Everyone. We're crazy guys. It's just whoever gets the ball.
That's pretty crazy. But really, in Halo 4 style and on, everybody has to at least grab the ball and throw it back. At the very least.
That's right.
Everybody has to be able to at least do that. Pick up the ball, throw it back. You're allergic. That's fine. Throw it back to the spawn if there's nobody there. Everybody's got to be able to run a little bit. I personally despise running, but I think that makes me a little bit better. Running from pure hatred, it works.
Maybe. Like if you want to be if you want to be able to max out your player skill in this game, you have to be able to you have to be able to do everything.
Yeah.
Right. Because like top players are all perceived or considered as hybrids. Right? You can only really be the best at something if you're able to do everything, every aspect of it at an exceedingly high level. Right?
Yeah.
So you're just skill capping yourself if you're not learning how to run. And just like you mentioned on Halo 4, and I'm just shooting shots in the dark for Halo 5 because I never played it, but you really want to get decent or like have a baseline skill established for every aspect of Infinite if you want to be a solid or fundamental player for your team. Regardless of where you get drafted, regardless of what your grades end up being at the end of the day, it doesn't fucking matter. Who gives a shit? It's just about your own individual skill and being able to improve your worth for captains and improve your flexibility for your team by being able to be decent at every aspect. Does that make sense?
No, it makes perfect sense. And I just
So it's
think,
like,
I just think that's.
I'm not attacking you, but I'm telling you, fucking do it. You're on a new team this season, so you can definitely reset and improve. Because last season, I liked where you were because that's what fit our team's our team's matrix.
Yeah.
Right. I just needed the 3 boys running or tanking, and then I was just gonna solely commit to running.
Yeah, I can run in a pinch. I like to pick it up whenever it's like dead on the plate and scoop and score or whatever, but it's just punching is really hard for me, for sure. But being well-rounded is important, I think, in any of these games. It's just Halo 3 and Halo Reach, they were a different breed, from these games. I think Halo 4 and on really opened up the defensive game. Like, not only do you have to worry about positioning, but passing and somebody being behind you matters now, where in the older games it really didn't. They were just going to go to the spawn and try to spawn kill. So... But, what I can say about draft analysis is, I'm happy to be on my team because there's a certain sense of comfort you get from being on HB Silent's team. You just...
Oh, that's right. I forgot you're on Ace's team. I didn't even look at the direction until now.
He's going to take care of things. But we just got to be there to compliment him and whatnot and do what we can. Zim is getting back in form. It's definitely taking him a little bit, but he seems to be pretty good running the ball, or being able to run here and there. So thank God. That way I don't have to all the time. Well, I guess moving on, we can talk about the bum rush that we had last night. 9 teams out of 12 signed up, so that's a pretty good turnout. I'll take it. And the winner of the rush was Puffy Grifbussy. Sorry for having to say that out loud. My apologies. Time for a ban. But the hell of a job for an Infection's team. Playing him in customs, it just seemed like Infection was still trying to learn the game a little bit. He still had some rust and whatnot, but after last night, I would say he's starting to knock some of that rust off.
I mean, this is his first time playing the game, or like playing Grifball in general for a few years?
Yes.
I don't remember I don't think I was here the last time he played Grifball.
Right. His team is well put together, and he's an intellect. He probably had all of his ways of having to draft, but he just went pure tank really. And then he got Hell's Angel, who can run the ball, but she's a strong tank too, and Aware's sort of the same, even though he's got high ping. He can run the ball he can run the ball well, and he creates space quite a bit, trading and getting clean kills. Really solid
I
team, I
mean,
would say.
yeah, I mean, Aware, I would say, fits that role perfectly because, Spank's a pretty aggressive tank. He usually swings first. And Affection's sort of, I would say, an elusive person where he mostly tries to have people, I guess from my experience from last night, is like he tries to set up plays for like passing, while Aware is sort of just like a patient, cautious person where he's sort of holding back and waiting for you to swing.
Yeah, I would say they're kind of similar to Ace Spence's team. They're kind of well rounded. They got a good mix of everything. They got some good tanking power, pretty solid on defense, and they got a good running game too. I just wish I could watch the streams of those games last night. It's always good to go back and look at it in Observer, which Observer mode in this game is actually really cool. I enjoy going into it. It's pretty smooth going from one first person to another, and then going to the court view. It's pretty good. So
I mean, from my experience, I would prefer Halo 5, but I mean, Infinite is still pretty good compared to other past games.
yeah, I would say Halo 5 has some similarities of Halo 4, but Infinite also has some similarities to Halo 5. Just one in general is the long lunge. That's the main one that I can kind of equate it to, because you could do smart link on Halo 5 and lunge from really far, and in this game it's sort of the same thing. You don't even have to aim, and you can just lunge from so far. But punching is probably easier on this game overall too, I would say. So congrats to, oh, I ain't saying that team name again, fuck that. Everybody's probably been waiting for. Time to get to the juice box. Hashtag Shrekgate. Take it away,
The worst
Spence.
ult I've ever seen. Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Take it away, Spence.
Let's see. Yeah, dude, that was actually pretty interesting. I woke up day after draft to see a bunch of fun messages taking place in Captain's Chat and Customs. I forget if it was in Grifball discussion as well. Just
We're giving
talking about how Shrek's a goofball and cheese the draft. So, got it. It was weird because he did get me with a little gotcha moment regarding the rules. Because it is true, he's not wrong. There is nowhere in the Discord where it implicitly states that you can't do that. And then if you reach towards the rules listed on the Play Grifball website, even that doesn't really say it. That states specifically for Bid League.
Yes.
So, no, he's not wrong about that, but that doesn't negate the concept that it is it is a frowned upon action, and it ruins the integrity of the draft because it's giving you clearly an unfair advantage. So of course he has to be punished. But since he is newer to the community, and they did give me with the gotcha, it didn't warrant a drastic penalty or drastic punishment for their actions. Realistically, the only punishment that would make sense without hindering or punishing Snipes and Avenger is to just limit Cosmo's ability to play. Since that's the whole point of why they did that. It was primarily to have Shrek and Cosmo be on the same team. Which, mind you, if Cosmo, going under the username or gamertag Big Bad Bowser, if he had just stayed as Big Bad Bowser in the draft, he would have picked ahead of Infection behind Psyduck. And he would have been able to draft Shrek right out the gate. So he still would have gotten the team that he wanted. And also, if Shrek wasn't a little blabbermouth and fucking tattled on himself, then, he would have gotten away with it, and it wouldn't have mattered. Everything would have been fine. Because it's not unlike last season where oh no, I'm sorry. I don't know why I said it like that. It's not like it would have been crazy for Cosmo to be a good player, because last season we had a lot of third rounders that ended up being really good players, like TJP,
Right.
or Ken Kanaki, or Chicken God. Well, I guess TJP would be more so the outlier, but it's not unrealistic for lesser name or no name players to just come in and be good and not be a Smurf, right? So they really should have just fucking kept their mouth shut. But, whoops. And that also doubles down on the fact that because he felt the need to be secretive about it, that, of course, he shouldn't have been fucking doing it from the first place. Like, he knew he was doing wrong. Anywho, this is one of those things where because it was a gotcha, I didn't really see it fit to just outright punish them with anything like super severe, and it just made more sense to me to have the captains kind of pull together their logic and dish out a punishment, or at least give some ideas for punishment, since ultimately the captains are the ones being fucked here, and not us, the AGLA admins. But thankfully, the majority of people wanted some kind of inconvenience applied to that team. So ultimately just limiting Cosmo to being able to play half the regular season, was a fair and just punishment.
Oh,
Since
yeah.
it doesn't really negatively impact that team, as they can sub in players underneath. Oh shoot, I actually forgot about that. Priest really pushed home the idea of of making the sub options, even though it's still following the standard sub rules, making it where the opposing captain has to agree to the sub choice provided, unless it's the last, I think it's the last 6 people, 3, 6. So from Diablo to Oreo, those people are free reign. Anyone above that, from men's to listless, have to require other captain approval. I think that is a little harsh, but Priest really wanted to push home, that fuck you kind of attitude.
Yeah,
So that went with that.
I think compared to past punishments, I mean, most of the time captains would get a 4 or 8 game ban, and the Smurf player would get a season ban, and maybe even get banned for the next season. But even being new, that happened. So I think it was a good resolution, and it was a really good idea to let captains weigh in on that. Because, like I said, it affects them too. So I think it was a real ingenious thing to do. And he's sticking it out this season too, regardless of what happened. I still feel like he's going to be one of the better teams in the league. So, Mav, you got any thoughts?
I mean, first off, it's quite literally the worst Smurf I've ever seen because, like, I don't know why, but he decided to shit the bed and tell everyone that Cosmos or Big Bad Bowser is smurfing, which I don't know. He's an idiot, I guess. I don't know who puts that out loud, but it's even funnier because I'm pretty sure Death was joking with him when he asked if Bowser or Cosmos, whoever he goes by, was Bowser himself, and Shrek, I guess, died on the sword and told everyone that he wasn't all. I don't know, just decision making by those two did not make sense to me because, like it's been said, if Bowser or Cosmos captains, he probably gets close to the same team Shrek got. And you ignore the penalty of having to deal with a hindrance of not playing half the season. It just didn't make any sense to me.
Right.
And also, if he just kept his mouth shut
Yeah, that
and did fucking tattle on himself.
he's an idiot. Like I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he's just like he was trying to be nice in a way and tell everyone, even though still doesn't make any sense. Just I don't know, an idiotic move by everyone involved.
Yeah, I think the important thing to note is that it's not the first time someone's tried it, and it surely won't be the last. But I think the difference is that most new players, when they come in, every new player is going to get hit by their drama or somebody being toxic or trash talking. Everybody goes through it. And I think the important thing is that he wants to stick around and play regardless, because you've seen it happen before many times, Spence. I have too. Somebody runs into a little controversy, or they play for the first time, they lose a game or two, and that's it. They're gone. They leave the server, they quit from the league, and you don't even ever hear from them again. Maybe they'll come back, but and it's kind of an opportunity to polish up the rules page too. So I always
I will
try.
say what I will say he was smart with the gotcha moment where he actually like the rules didn't show that smurfing was technically against the like AGLA rules. What was it? Unless like you go to the website and I guess it's there for a bid league, not a draft league.
Yeah, exactly. That's what Spence was saying earlier. Technically, he's correct, but like I said, I think it's important that he still wants to stick it out because a lot of people run into their wall or whatever, or their problem with the community, and they end up they just rip. You never hear from them again, and that's always unfortunate because the more the merrier for sure. It's especially now. Moving on, I think we're gonna head on to some preseason rankings. I actually put together a little something. Did something a little different, and instead of doing all the teams because it's not really my strong suit, I'm just gonna go with the who I have as the top 5 teams, and start from 5 and go up from there. And surprisingly, at number 5, I have Get Shrek'd. Even with all of the controversy and stuff going on, been playing customs with him, and he's improved so much from last season. Shrek himself. I mean, he was really good last season, but this season, after switching from keyboard to mouse, like you telling me to do, and working in all the little nuances of the game, the jumping and equipment and such like that, he's a hell of a player. He's pretty good, and I'd say Snipes is pretty good too. After watching him play, he's starting to break off the rust and play a little better. TCT Avenger, he seems to be playing pretty well, and I know he'll be without Cosmos for 11 of those games, but I mean, even with a close sub, I still feel like they're going to play well. They have a really really good offense. They're good at going weak side, and they're good with their tanking power, but also pass plays too. They're really annoying with the flanking stuff. So uh, I feel like they're going to be a contender for one of the top 5 teams.
I could see it. I mean, I feel like it depends on obviously how good Cosmos gets, because he's made drastic improvements from like when he first started playing like about a month ago. He's really gained a lot of, I guess, experience. So I mean, honestly, if like he can play customs and they get through the 11 games and make playoffs, I could definitely see them being really good.
So I personally don't have an opinion on like these team rankings. I actually have no opinion on what team's good and what team's bad, or like what team's gonna be top 5 or whatnot.
Right. Well, I'm just naming who I have, and if you wanted to say something about the teams, you didn't. No, they were on the other side of the bracket. You didn't play against them. Have you played against them in customs or anything like that?
Rex team?
Yeah.
No, haven't had a chance.
Yeah. Like I said, I feel like my assessment's pretty accurate. Like I said, they definitely flank well and they tank well. I didn't mean to rhyme so good there, but sometimes
well, you are a rapper.
Yeah,
so.
well, greatness happens by itself sometimes. I surprise myself. So, well, I got my team at number 4, post Griff Depression. We're a good team on paper. Now, obviously, we have Coach Ace, and Zim is new, and I think I'm pretty seasoned in this game. I've been playing pretty well, and our captain Dalton, this guy is a monster. I mean, he's for somebody new. He's a really good tank. That's all he does. He just tanks in space, and that's it. Uh, he's pretty good. I just don't think we just got to play a little bit more together and kind of find our cohesion a little bit. All the pieces are there, but what I seen last night playing against y'all, we started off pretty good and we were winning 2-1, and then y'all just kind of took the game over. Y'all were like, "Fuck this, we're done. We're scoring the next 4 rounds, and you're going home. That's it." It just seemed like to me we had problems, sort of like slow down offense when we're just trying to keep the ball. We just really couldn't push up past half court really good. And then when we did get close to the goal, we were getting stopped, or all of our tanks would die, and then it was just always something. The only 2 goals we got were, I think they were both off of carrier kills.
Why is that happening?
Just like I said, Not sure. I started off the game pretty good, kill wise and all that. We just started off hot, and I fall victim to that. I'll start games hot, and then if it drags on for too long, because we did have a pretty long game. I feel like it was at least about a 20-minute game between us.
When you guys reach, well, I guess it's irrespective of your positioning, but it's more important when you're at center court and then their side of the court. Are you counting death timers?
At first I do stuff like that, but as the game goes on, I can sort of lose focus, doing other stuff, looking around, counting people, looking at radar, and stuff like that. I try to look at the kill feed because that's something Ace mentioned. He looks at the
Yeah.
kill feed and times it from there.
That's exactly right. That's one of the most important things you can do in this game when it comes to pacing and gaining ground or losing ground is death timing or kill timing, or whatever, however you want to phrase it, when tracking when a player goes to respawn and then tracking the respawn length. So every time you go to respawn, that's 4 seconds, right? That's 4 seconds of ground that you can obtain, or that's four seconds of positioning that you can hold, right? And so the closer you get to their goal line, the more impactful those 4 seconds are. Because right when you spawn, there's about, depending on latency, there's about an additional 1 to 2 seconds of free time that you have to be able to, kind of reposition. That 1 to 2 seconds has to do with input timing from the player spawning. So if they're able to like snap to you and trade, or snap in a direction and swing. That's also accounting for swing timing. So when you're running, for instance, those 4 to 6 seconds are exceptionally valuable because that's going to determine your decision making on whether you run forward and plant, or if you run forward then pause, then continue running forward to plant. The pause indicating that you know that they're about to spawn potentially on you and that they're going to swing. And so you pause anticipating the swing, they swing and miss, then you just run past them, right? And that's also another thing that, at least for running specifically, is watching when the swing goes off and then timing your positioning based off that. That's one of the most important things when it comes to goal line. I can show you a clip too, like indicating that you get about, still depending on latency, 1 to 2 seconds of free run time once a swing goes off. And so a lot of this timing stuff is really key and fundamental to the game that a lot of people, if not the majority of people, are not taking into consideration. I personally take into consideration. That's why I'm able to do a bunch of crazy shit that I can do.
Crazy guys.
But a lot of people don't.
I think
So, yeah.
I think Ace made a good point last night, or what we saying, we could get up past half court, but we just couldn't. He says if you don't have a runner that's good enough at making punches and punching hammers to be able to finish the push, he said you're just going to dance at half court all day and you're never going to be able to finish a push. So
He's right about that.
right,
Ooh.
I agree with that, but
And to a lesser extent, or to a greater extent, depending on how you look at it, if you don't have a runner that understands how to manipulate the opposing team's positioning.
mm-hmm.
So both taken into account. If the runner's not getting those extra kills, he's hindering the team. Or if a runner isn't positioning in a way that he's forcing the opposing team to be set up for kills or set up for double kills, otherwise known as grand slams, then they're hindering the team.
Who's
So
running?
you're like
Team
two different
Netflix?
types of runners.
From what we've saw in scrims, we seem to be the best when Zim runs the ball. We had our strongest scrim or custom, whatever you want to call it. I think it was a scrim. It was me, Dalton, Ace, and Zim was running the ball. He seems to be the best at getting the punches that we were talking about. He's still trying to break the rust off and find his way in Infinite. I say this all the time. It's sound like a broken record. It's just a really shocking game whenever you first play it the first 5 games. You told me that too, Spence, before I started last season. And you said get your ass in customs because it's gonna be a shock. You need to get in there and get the shock out of the way before you can start to learn the game. So I feel like we're probably our most efficient there. We had Trespass last night, and he played well. I thought he was doing good. It's just like I said, I feel like we looked a little better with Dalton whenever we had him as a fourth.
I mean, what Trespass? Trespass doesn't really play customs, does he?
He's
Because
Yeah, he's wanted to get into some more customs. He mentioned it, but yeah, up until this point, no, not really. And I'm not sure how much he played last year or last season, because I
He
mean,
didn't play that much last season.
I
yeah, I
was gonna
know,
say I don't
Sorry to
remember.
right. So he didn't get as much enrichment as people that play 20 games or more, or fucking 30 like you, Mav. We all can't be great like you.
You absolutely, absolutely need to encourage him, if not bully him into getting into customs. That was one of his biggest detriments of last season, and it's why his entire team got fucking annihilated. Was because none of those people practiced. None of those people wanted to practice. None of those people put in the time to practice. Epic Beast is like one of the biggest culprits for never practicing, and thankfully he's on Gingy's team, so I know Gingy's gonna fucking punish him to get on and practice. I think.
Hopefully.
But he
Hopefully.
literally was on every fucking day, dude. Beast was on every goddamn day playing Infinite Ranked or just sitting in lobby. And this guy could have come to customs to fucking practice. And he was invited multiple times, every time customs were up, to come and play. But he would just never do it. And then, hours after customs were done, he would say, "Hey guys, customs still going?" Like, what the fuck, dude? Of course not. And then, people don't invite him anymore. No one wants to no one wants to invite someone who's not gonna put the time in. It's fucking stupid. But because he didn't put the time in, that's why he was dog shit. And that's why his team got fucking annihilated. Because him, Reels, Trespass, and I don't know who their fourth was. I think it was someone might have quit. I don't want to look
Oh
up the
no,
list.
it was
I don't care. While you think of that, you seriously need to tell Trespass to get on and practice. You literally need to encourage him in your team chat or just through DM or whatnot that, hey man, I want to see you in those customs. Hey man, I want to see you putting in some time because I know you can get better from last season.
That
It was
sounds-
the Aussie General Corned Beef. That was his fourth.
Yeah, and he got traded. He got traded earlier in this season to Mystical Novices team, didn't he?
Yeah,
Corned
yeah.
beef?
They had Ken or not Ken Kanagi. That's my.
They had General Corned Beef. Then we traded
they-
for Chicken God.
Yes, and Chicken God was a good player, but he was squandered on that team because they refused to practice. And he did pretty well on your team, Mav, because he did practice.
Novice forced him to.
Yeah, he was doing pretty fucking well.
The
I'm
school,
glad he did.
the school of novice. Yeah, I think I've done better about that this season. I've definitely tried to get on and play more customs because that sounds like the same thing you were telling me last season is to get my ass in customs and to improve. Because yeah, I think I've been doing pretty good at that, or trying to at least. So
I think so.
I'm gonna move on to number 3, and this might be a bit of a shock, not really, because I haven't seen him play in customs yet. But I'm gonna go with buff oily men and women. It's pretty hard to discount Novice. He's just top 3 player in the league. Number 1 overall draft pick is really good. I don't really know much about Command Station, but Zilly was good for us last season whenever he showed up and whenever he practiced a lot. He's just a really solid player that would give you a push, a pass play, a stop, stuff like that. And then Sev is their 4th, right?
Yes.
So they got the runner in there. So I don't really know much about, I haven't seen them play or anything, but I have faith that they're gonna be a really good team. Has any of you seen them playing customs?
I mean,
Sev?
yeah, Sev is actually playing right now. I think they have a lobby going as we speak. So like he's getting practice in. I feel like this team really depends on like if like Zilly will actually practice and play, and if Command Station will play. Because I'm sure Novice will bully Silly into playing. It wouldn't surprise me. He did the same thing to me and whoever else was on our team last season.
Mystical motivator. That's what I'm counting on. He's gonna bully people into playing.
When it comes to Command Station, apparently they're like an HCS pro, and they're pretty good. That's to my extent of their knowledge because I've never seen them play customs before. So I don't know. Like that's sort of a mystery to me. All I know is that they just happen to be a Halo pro.
Novice has been telling me that Command Station has a very, very competitive drive to get really good at this game. Grifball does. They're already pretty good. We're really good at Halo Infinite. But I know that Novice and Command Station have been going into customs to be able to practice, like just small customs between like the two of them or three or the rest of their team to be able to practice the fundamental mechanics of the game so that she can start leveling up in time for the first week of matches. I don't know. I think that team is probably going to get really strong going into the middle of the season. It's around like week 3. They're probably going to start ripping and tearing.
Yeah, generally when someone's a HCS pro like that, it's gonna generally translate well to Grifball because Grifball's you know easy to learn, hard to master. I guess that's the way to say it. It's very basic, but then again, it's there's some intricacies to it. But in general, in my experience, people that are really good at the game translate well playing in Grifball just because they play the game all the time. They're just used to the fluidity of movement and how weapons are and you know stuff like that, player effects. So I don't know. I got some high hopes for them. They got all the pieces there for sure. And number 2, I've got Crazy Guys. Pretty self-explanatory there. Like I was saying earlier, y'all don't really have much of a weakness to your team. You got all the pieces there. You've got playmaking. You've got tanking power. You've got defense. And like you said, everybody's forced to run, so you got that covered. It's pretty hard to find any holes in your team.
I guess.
Here we go with the humble.
I don't know.
You're a hell of a player. You're the leader of the team for sure. You'll give them all the kills and whatever else they may need. You're a threat for sure. Anytime you get equipment, call out worthy. But like I said, with how your roster's filled out, it's just really you got some really good players for sure. High hopes for you guys, Crazy Guys. High hopes.
We are some crazy guys. That is true. Right, Matt? Right?
Oh god, I can't imagine playing with a team with Tommy and you. All I see is chaos happening.
It's a fun time. Really good
It'll be a
comms.
fun time, but it'll also be completely chaos. Shit will be flying everywhere. To be fair, I'm kind of surprised like Grunt fell like all the way to like the 3rd round, you guys. I wasn't seeing that happening.
Yeah, I'm really happy that happened.
I would hope so.
Dude, Grunt's been popping off lately. Jesus
Yeah, he was a
Christ.
pain in the ass last night when I played you.
This guy's a crazy guy.
He's just one of those players that stays underrated. I was like that for many seasons. I don't know. I would always end up falling as a 4th, and people just thought I sucked, but I would always end up on a pro team as a 4th. It's not that much different here. He's a solid player. Last season he was really solid too. A lot of the stat metrics show it. Just really solid. He was pretty high in some of the leaderboards. I don't remember which ones. I don't remember if it was W Key Warrior or KDA. I just can't remember which one it was, but he's up there for sure. But yep, Crazy Guys. And number 1, I have once again Puffy Griff Bussy. A lot of it based on last night's rush and whatnot, and can't be too sure how the season will play out when other teams get warmed up, but it's hard to take away how impressive they were last night. Seems like Infection's breaking the rust off. Everything's starting to click for them. Tons of tanking power. Defense, lots of potential in there. They got their running game covered too, so that's who I got for top 5.
I mean, like, just going off the draft, I didn't expect Hells to be as good as a runner as they are now. I mean, obviously they'll get better, but, like, it was sort of a shock to me because they're doing some of the things that, like, me and Ace Spence might do. They seem to be, like, being adjusted to the passing. So, like, I feel like if they just continue to get better and better, that team could just steamroll everyone. That also depends on, like, Aware. Like, hopefully Aware can continue to get better and better, even though he is an EU player and has, I don't know, I would say probably like 100 ping connecting to, like, East.
I don't know. That's all I have to say. I don't know.
I don't know. Big what if.
Yeah, like I said, they got all the pieces there. They looked really impressive last night, and they have the best and worst team name at the same time too. So they got that going for them. Well, if y'all don't have any more insight or anything on preseason rankings or anything left to talk about, I guess it's time to close up this edition of the podcast. Just once again, I just want to give a shout out to both of you for everything you've done, all the community work. Uh, I've been an admin and a commissioner before, so I know how it can be for sure. But even a shout out to everyone who played last season and played this season and have helped me do my rankings or help Mav or A Spence or the admins in any way. Just want to give a shout out to everybody that keeps the community going. It's just Grifball's like luggage; you just can't get rid of it. Forever eternal.
Hopefully by the time this is all out, I'll have my rankings done. Sort of just waiting for a few people to send me theirs, and I can sort of do my, 12, what do we have, 12 teams this season? 11, 12?
12, I
12.
believe.
Hopefully by the time, this is out, I'll have that all done. I'll have it, all nicely set up and in long explanations and everything.
Yes.
Yes, I agree.
Yes.
Yes.
So
Yes.
any shout outs y'all want to make? Any call outs? None of that.
Shout out
little
to
juiciness.
the fanciest pants.
Yeah,
Shout out to the fanciest pants. Always a shout out to that guy.
Fancy
Now,
is good.
That's a crazy guy.
Well, thank you guys for coming and recording this with me. It was a lot of fun. I'm already ready to do the next one, but it'll be a while. But thanks for doing this with me, and until next time, see you guys later.